When you feel like life has dealt you a hand of unfair cards, instead of voting, you double down and you stuck in the game. You faced battles, you felt broken, but hey, do us a favor, put your hand on your heart. You feel that? You're still here. Welcome to the Resilience Files Unlocked, where survival meets transformation.
I'm Jesse B. Evans.
I'm Angelica Washington.
Hey, Brunettes,
And you're listening to
the Resilience Files.
Go by in the background. No, this is the Resilience Files, guys. As you can see, we're not in our usual studio space. We're switching things up this episode. So there's no studio, there's no guests. It's just the three of us. We're checking in. We're holding space, not for the lyrics of Defying Gravity this time, but for each other. And we want to dive into what's in our hearts and what's in the headlines. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we all get to join together. We are virtual, so this is a really exciting episode for us. We are going to dive in a little bit with a little temperature check. I just want to see how both of you are doing. As Jesse just previously stated, there's so much going on in the world, a lot of heavy hearts and a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions. And since this is the Resilience Files, what better way to dive into how we're doing and how we're coping, and like he said, holding space for each other. So, Jesse, Carrie, how are you both doing?
Yeah, I'll hop in there and just say, I feel a sense of heaviness definitely going on in the community, and it's really difficult to process, to not feel bad for another brother or sister, regardless by blood you are one with someone. I think to me, with everything that's going on around the globe, from conflicts rises with the environmental shifts to wildfires to war zones to the protests with immigrants being deported, and even just the political unrest, it's really difficult to process all of it at the same time. And I think that a lot of us, especially myself, our bodies are in shock and trying to like put it all together and try to figure out how we can solve these problems and issues. And the reality is that folks are just trying to survive each day, and they're trying to hold space for one another. And I think it's really hard to, and especially in Los Angeles, to hold space for one another in the midst of also going through. We just got over the wildfires, but wildfires are still existing in other places. And that
Yeah.
wasn't too far removed from where we are now. And then now is another political unrest with our brothers and sisters being taken away, people that's been here for 15, 20 years. So to me, I think that it's kind of difficult as everybody's trying to survive just for one more day, trying to find peace in the midst of insanity, trying to find hope to hold on to. And it's not really just the headlines that we see, it's human lives that are at stake. So I do appreciate that we can see one another show up in love and stand and protest in peace. It does make me happier and realize that the world does understand and care about one another.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Jesse, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm okay. There's a lot going on in the world, but I've been trying to remain positive. I've been on my gratefulness kick, trying to remain grateful. Um, Obviously, my I'm very disturbed by the things that are going on in this country, things that are going on in the world. But every day I get up, I try to be okay. All of this, all of that grief compounded with personal grief and personal struggles that I'm having to deal with. It's a lot. So I've been combating that by trying to remain grateful for the things I do have. What about you, Ange? How you feeling?
Honestly, being in Los Angeles, as all three of us are, we have the opportunity of living in this city and enjoying this city and being a part of the community of this city, which is comprised of so many different people in different walks of life. But the overwhelming majority is absolutely the Latinx community. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think for me personally, um, watching targeted attacks on people being racially profiled really brings up a lot of feelings of I relate to it, in ways of like even before Black Lives Matter, even just growing up and learning about stop and frisk and the movement that happened then and people being racially profiled and targeted and imprisoned, and now there's people being deported and sent or detained and all types of crazy things, even American citizens specifically. That's the biggest problem, I think. Outside of the way that it's happening and the way that it's being done, I have found so much hope by showing up to the protests, by being surrounded by communities, and by realizing, oh, that's right. There are so many people in the world who see the world the way that I do, who do look at all of these people in our community as our brothers and sisters that need to be protected, that need to be provided for, that deserve to be here, that are awesome, amazing people, and that are also just humans. Like when we take away like someone's work ethic and just center in this person is a human being, they deserve rights. I'm sure we all know plenty of races of people that are not hardworking, and we don't center their worth to their work ethic. So I have been finding a lot of hope in a lot of the people in the community showing up for each other. So I'm personally in a space of feeling hopeful, and I'm in a place of feeling excited for change and excited that so many people are like waking up to the atrocities that the Latinx community is experiencing at the moment. And I'm praying that we can stop it here and it doesn't manifest into all marginalized communities. I would not like to see a revolution in my time, but I would like to see people having the rights that they deserve.
Absolutely. I love what you said, and I think what's beautiful is that I think we've all showed up for the protests, right? And to me, I feel like we've absorbed so much of the pain that everyone is experiencing, but we've also absorbed the power of coming together, the unity of coming together. And I feel like in the midst of this storm that's swirling around us, what's so beautiful is that we've seen the resilience that everyone has, right? The grit inside of us that we're not backing down. We're not going to let go of this. And no, we don't find this right. And we're going to stand up for what is right. And I think
Yeah.
that there's so many people that's sitting at home that are afraid and scared, and they're watching these protests. They're seeing the violence that they're putting out there, but they're not seeing the peaceful part too. They're not seeing the unity of people coming together. And when you said that you feel hope, I think that's how the opposite of like, I mean, that's where I feel now. I was feeling a bit hopeless at first, but I'm
Right.
starting to feel more hope because even the No King protest that they did, I was in Studio City and oh my God, I mean, I saw like 99-year-old woman. She's like, I'm 99 years old walking around. And 99 years ago, it was definitely some racist shit going on. You know what I mean? Like, but to see where her heart is at, it was white, black,
Yeah.
Mexican, Asian, everybody was out there. And I think that
Yeah.
it's amazing how we're coming together, and that's where we find the resilience. That's where we find our strength is in the numbers, and that's how we go further. You go further together, and I think that's so beautiful. So thank you for sharing that, Angelica. Just sparked something inside of me.
Absolutely. I love it. And I think that you're right. Sometimes in order to like, how people growing up, you hear people say like, you got to find hope. You got to find hope. I used to always sometimes be like, where in the world do you just find hope? Like, is it inside of me? Do you have it? Is it at the grocery store? Is it at Whole Foods? Like, where do I find hope? And I'm learning as I'm getting older, and as I have, we've all lived through Black Lives Matter. We've lived through recession. We've lived through pandemic. We lived through a strike. We lived through so many of these experiences already in our young lives that I'm learning that a lot of times, not only does the hope, yes, come from with inside of us, but the hope also comes from being surrounded by community that have your back. That brings hope. Knowing that like people will fight for you. If you feel that no one hears your voice, there is someone who's going to speak up for you, who's going to advocate for you, right? And like know that there are people fighting on your behalf. So sometimes I think finding hope is actually in showing up.
100%. You have to show up. You have to be there, or otherwise, like I think in the power of saying show up is there's so many people that want to see a person fold, and regardless of whatever part of walk you are in life, to resilience alone is to go against the unfold. It's the act of showing up, the act of it was a quote by I forgot, Seneca, I think that's it. It's like the courage of just living. It's like sometimes to live alone is just courage, because I think that's the weight. I hope that anybody's listening to this episode that they understand that we understand, that this is a heavy time and that you're not alone in this process of a heavy time. And that when you're looking for faith to show up in your communities, even if you don't want to go out to the protest, look and see where you can find a community of people. There's so many resources out there of churches or community centers that want to take in and want to hear what you got to say, and know that you're not alone in this process and you're not processing it alone. Because I think that so much of this can feel so alone, especially when we're coming off of COVID, that we were in for 2 years in our house, and then we went into wildfires, and then the whole presidential election, then we went into what we're living in today. And then y'all know in Minnesota, the guy was dressed in police outfits, knocking on their door, and assassinated a senator, his wife, and then another senator,
A state
and their
representative.
husband, state representative. They're in the hospital, him and his wife. Like 4 people got gunned down, so it can make everybody wonder, like, I'm so scared. What do I do? What do you all do right now? What creates peace in your life when you're feeling the weight of the world being so heavy and you still have to go to work the next morning? How do you guys process that?
Mm. Honestly, I'm afraid to say. Because, listen, this just we didn't give it this disclaimer like we usually do. We're not mental health professionals.
Of
We're
course.
not psychologists. We're not therapists. We're not psychiatrists. We're not here to diagnose. We're not here to even recommend. We're just sharing what has worked for us or the things that we do. So, with that being said, um, as you guys know, and as probably some of the listeners know, I've been through a lot of trauma, traumatic things that most people will go through their lives never even having to imagine going through. And when you are going through that type of trauma, the world doesn't stop for you. The world keeps on going. And so there were several times where I was getting so overwhelmed, I couldn't do anything. And a lot of times, just like a lot of people who might be listening, I would forget to breathe. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what panic attacks are. Anxiety attacks, you forget that you can breathe. And so there's this song. I first heard it on one of my favorite shows, Grey's Anatomy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Lyrics are a storm is coming, but I don't mind. People are dying. I close my blinds. All that I know is I'm breathing now. And it's not to say like I don't care about what's going on or I don't care about what is happening outside. But if I cannot breathe right now, if I can't take care of myself, I can't help or take care of anybody else. So really, sometimes what I do is literally breathe. Um,
Mm.
and I breathe. And this is actually something that my therapist, who is a mental health professional, recommended that I do. I stop, I breathe in for 7, uh, I hold for 8. Wait, what is it? No, I'm in for 7, hold for 7, out. I breathe out until I feel like empty. And I hope I'm saying that right. I have my
Yeah,
session
and you go to
tomorrow.
6. Yep. You're
Yeah,
right, because I might look my therapist had me do this too.
she said, if I remember correctly, she said that what it actually does is it stops your heart. Like it like jump starts you or something like that. I'm really fucking this up right now. I gotta get a refresher. But what I do remember is that it kind of resets me and it grounds me. And a lot of times, if I'm feeling like triggered by something, or I'm feeling like I'm not okay, or I'm starting to get paranoid, I tell myself, Jesse, you're okay. You're safe.
Mm.
You're okay. You're safe. Um, and usually, after I kind of like reset, after I breathe, I talk to myself, I reassure myself, I'm able to like continue on with my day. Again, that's just what I do. That's what's working for me right now. And I'm hoping that, like in the future, I'm able to cope even better. But right now, for the things that I've been through, for the things that are currently happening, that's what works for me. And that's what is, not even to be dramatic, what is has been keeping me alive. And
Mm.
so that's what I do.
That's so beautiful. I
That
love that
is.
you talked about like breathing and centering yourselves, and my therapist as well. So it looks like three for three. My therapist has also told me to breathe, and there's so many different variations of different breathing techniques, but I think you're so right. Like that's honestly, it feels like a best kept secret, even though if you think about it, it's the very first thing you do when you're born is breathe. The first thing you do. And so it's so ironic that sometimes when the world feels so chaotic or feels so heavy, or even when we feel so small, right? And like the world just feels like it's overtaking us, if we just remember to breathe, the literal basic human like necessity is to just like breathe and recenter yourself. I find as well that it helps me realign and get grounded with where I'm at. So that's
And it
beautiful.
sounds corny, right? Like you hear it all the time, and it sounds like hippy dippy, maybe even, but it sounds hippy dippy and corny and cliche because it actually works. Because that was my attitude when my therapist first told me, and I was like, "Oh my God, breathe! Yes, I've heard this. We're all meditate. Yeah, I said, yes, I've heard it." And she was actually like, "Well, no, I'm not suggesting that you meditate. Not for you. For people that have gone through extremely traumatic things, sometimes that's not the best thing for them to sit and meditate to do that right away. But what you can do is you can breathe. And if there's something that you can do to sort of like empty your mind, because that's what meditating is, it's emptying your mind. If that's something that you can do, try doing that. And for me, it's walking. I love to walk.
Mm,
I will take a
that's
walk on the
beautiful.
block and I just like I can just watch things and my mind will just drift and I can just let my mind just go and let my mind do its thing, and I don't have to think too much. Or I can play tennis, or the gym. You know what I mean? So like, there's some activities that I can do when I'm feeling like like overwhelmed, or I'm feeling like it's just too much. Um, Carrie, what about you? And I want you to talk because I know that you're a really super physical person, but when you were healing, you weren't able to do those things. So like, what did you do in lieu of the things that you used to do?
Yeah, that's a twofold question. I'm gonna say some of the things that I've done now, and I'll say some of the things I've done then. Some of the things I do now is like for a moment I had to do what Angelica did recently this past week is unplug. I just decided not to scroll on social media. I had to say like I need a moment of peace. I need a moment of silence. And I would take an hour of silence. Like how can I not like let anything that's going on in the world affect my mental? And if that's like no scrolling, if that's also deep breathing, centering myself and allowing myself to meditate and to like calm my nervous system down. I also, like you said, Jesse, I believe in physicality. Like now I can move my body around, but back then I couldn't. And now that I can, I believe that we store stress in so many places, like in our shoulders,
Mhm.
it really tense. For women, in the growing area, in our hips, and our back. There's so many different parts. And I unfortunately have experienced a lot of trauma similar to you, and I still store so much stress because my body would tense up from hearing a car shriek tires because it reminds me of getting hit by a car. So I have to
Mm,
remind myself at those moments, like, what can I do in order to release the tension and stress from my body so I can calm my nervous system down so it's not in a flight circumstances, but it's in like a calm, stable. And if that's stretching, if that's running, if that's getting into the gym, starting Pilates, yoga, whatever it is, like even if it's a 10-minute, cardio session, you got to go at it, get it done. You know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
and then
Moving
I
your
also
body
believe,
is like scientifically proven, by the way, to help
Yeah.
you.
yeah. I also believe too, my biggest thing is, and we all have therapists, is that you gotta talk and let it out, because I think so much of us bottle up so many things. And in the midst of the world feeling so heavy, if we decide to bottle all of it up with all the trauma and things that we go on in life, within our just in our regular life in this, oh my god, it would drive us insane and crazy. So if you don't have anybody to talk to, call that call one of those lines that are free. You don't have to be
Yeah.
suicidal to call the line to have somebody to talk to. They offer free
Mhm.
services, don't get me wrong. They prioritize some people, but also you got to talk to somebody, because the more you bottle up, the more tense your body gets, the more headache you're going to have, and then the more it's gonna just like weigh on you, and then you might accidentally go off on somebody that you really, really love for the wrong reason because you had this bottled up for way too long. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes it's like a Coke waiting to be shaken and explode. And instead of like it to be just poured out and have a good taste, just think about it. It's two ways we could do it: settle down, yummy taste, or shaken up and it's all over the place and we can't really drink it?
Ooh, I like that analogy of the soda. Is there anything that either of you have seen or heard? Is there a quote that you heard? Is there anything that you found motivational this week that you'd like to share? Anything that you felt represented resilience?
That's a good question.
Well, I have one actually, so I'll share mine. Okay. I actually wrote this down in my journal. My handy dandy journal, and I was actually listening to a sermon at Agape International Spiritual Center here in Los Angeles. I was on live stream, but I was taking notes, and he had said something, Dr. Sheesh, that's really bad. I should have got his name, but he's a doctor and he preaches there. He's amazing. But he said something that I found really, really good. And he basically said, he had everyone breathe. So in the exact same way that you said breathe. And then we breathe. And then he said, say, I have enough air. And everyone responded, I have enough air. And then he said, say, I have more than enough of everything. And then he said, now say, I have more than enough of everything. I have more than enough of everything. So I have more than enough air. I have more than enough air. Do you have enough air? I think you have enough air. Do you have more than enough air? I have more than enough air. Then he said to say, I have more than enough of everything. And it reminded me that actually, like, everything that I need and that I have is already within me. I think that's the symbolism for that, right? Is like when you can say, I have more than enough air. Oh, that's right. I have more than enough of everything. Everything we have is already inside of us. The tools that we have already been given to us for this time. And then just to move forward, last thing that he said that I wrote down, but I found it great for this exact moment. And he said, I am resilient and I bounce back from my setbacks. And it was a reminder that I am resilient and I do bounce back from my setbacks. And not only do I have enough resilience to bounce back from my setbacks because I have enough of everything, because I have more than enough air. So do you. You have more than enough air. You have more than enough of everything. You have more than enough resilience. Everything that you need to combat your setback, you already have within you. So I leave that with everyone and hope that you just remind yourself that you are resilient. Resilience isn't something you have to go find. It's something that's already within you. So as we're going through these challenges and challenging times, I hope that we all just remind ourselves that we are the change we want to see. Like, we are already it, and we are already love, and we are already light. So
I love that. I don't think I can top that. That is perfect. I think that's also the perfect way to end the episode, reminding our viewers, reminding everyone that's listening, you have more than enough air. You have more than enough. Um,
More than
I love
enough.
I enjoyed this, this little, this like check-in type of format that we do. I know that this is different from what we usually do. We want to thank you guys for one for listening to this episode, but also for listening to all the other episodes. Uh,
Yes.
been seeing your comments. We've been reading them. We really appreciate all the guests that we've had coming and the people coming on and sharing their stories and sharing their stories of resilience. If you have a story that you might want to share, you already know, contact us at resifiles@gmail.com, or you can visit our website at www.theresiliencefiles.com. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And until next time, stay resilient.
Thank you guys. Bye.